Arthur John Shawcross, also known as the Genesee River Killer, was an American serial killer active in Rochester, New York. He killed most of his 11 victims after being paroled early following a conviction in the manslaughter of 2 children, which led to criticism of the justice system. A food service worker, Shawcross trawled the streets of Rochester in his girlfriend's 1984 sky blue Dodge Omni. He later used her 1987 Chevy Celebrity, looking for prostitutes to abduct. Michael H. Stone, professor of psychiatry at Columbia University and an authority on violent behavior, identified Shawcross as one of the most egregious examples of the unwarranted release of a prisoner. Quote, early life. Shawcross was born in Kittery, Maine, the first of 4 children of Arthur Roy Shawcross and Elizabeth Shawcross. His family moved to Watertown in New York State when he was young. While several later tests showed Shawcross' intelligence to be subnormal or even borderline retarded, he received A's and B's in his first 2 years of grade school, but was later tested to have an IQ of 86, signifying low average intelligence. However, when tested in the Army, Shawcross scored just above average in intelligence tests, scoring 105 upon entry and 108 at discharge. This was also the case with the intelligence tests he underwent while on trial in 1990, scoring 107. Shawcross said throughout his childhood, he was a frequent bedwetter. He later claimed his mother would insert foreign objects into his rectum, that his mother performed oral sex on him when he was 9, and that during junior high school he had sexual relations with his sister. Shawcross had a reputation at school as a bully and would frequently act out violently. He dropped out of high school in 1960. In April 1967, he was drafted by the Army at age 21. Returned to New York. After his discharge from the Army, Shawcross moved with his wife, who would soon divorce him, from Oklahoma to Clayton, New York, where he began committing crimes such as arson and burglary. Shawcross returned to Watertown, eventually getting a job with the Watertown Public Works Department, and marrying for a 3rd time. On May 7, 1972, he raped and killed 10-year-old Jack Owen Blake after luring the boy into some woods in Watertown. 4 months later, on September 2, he raped and killed 8-year-old Karen Ann Hill, who was visiting Watertown with her mother for the Labor Day weekend. Arrested in October, he confessed to both killings. Under the terms of a plea bargain, he agreed to reveal the location of Blake's body. In return, he was permitted to plead guilty to a lesser charge of manslaughter in the Hill case. All other charges were dropped, and he received a 25-year sentence at Green Haven Correctional Facility. After 12 years, an experienced prison staff and social workers concluded that Shawcross was no longer dangerous. Second series of murders. In March 1988, Shawcross began murdering again, primarily prostitutes in the area. Apart from June Stott, who was a local and was the first one of his victims to be mutilated after her death, before his capture less than 2 years later, he was convicted of 11 murders, with a 12th not officially charged to him. The victims were as follows. All the victims were murdered in Monroe County, except for Gibson, who was killed in neighboring Wayne County. The retired detective Robert Keppel has argued that the detectives investigating the case over-relied on the concept of modus operandi, at times searching for multiple suspects due to small differences in the profiles of each victim. Shawcross was spotted by the surveillance team, and by an eyewitness, standing near his car, apparently urinating, on a bridge over Salmon Creek, upon whose frozen waters the body of his final victim was dumped. Trial and conviction. In November 1990, Shawcross was tried by Monroe County First Assistant District Attorney Charles J. Syracuse for the 10 murders in Monroe County. Shawcross pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, with testimony from psychiatrist Dorothy Lewis that he suffered from brain damage, multiple personality disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder, and had been sexually abused as a child. Imprisonment. Shawcross was held at the Sullivan Correctional Facility in Fallsburg, New York, until he died on November 10, 2008 at the Albany Medical Center. In 2003, Shawcross was interviewed by British reporter Catherine English for a documentary on cannibalism. Shawcross bragged about slicing out and eating the vulvas of 3 victims, but refused to discuss his earlier claim of eating the genitals of his first victim, Jack Blake. Death. Officials said Shawcross complained of a pain in his leg on the afternoon of November 10, 2008. His date of death. He was taken to Albany Medical Center, where he went into cardiac arrest. Shawcross died at 9:50 p.m.